Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. You know, most videos I put out on my platform are casual. I throw in some puns, make some observations, try to keep things light. This is not one of those videos. This is one of those rare videos that, quite frankly, I don't even know what I'm supposed to show on screen, because what I don't want to do is break the advice I give my students when it comes to talking about serious matters, because there are people out there who say crazy, sometimes even dangerous things just to get a reaction, just to get attention, because they think it's funny. And I have noticed that younger generations now, and I feel like social media, there are no secrets. When war happens, you see footage of the worst atrocities humans can do to one another. When you see, there are literally social media black holes you can go down that involve just the worst of humanity. But you can do it if you want to. The internet now is unfiltered, and I don't think you can put the genie back in the box. I think it's just how it is, as I stare at my chair and try to get that out of the way. We know that the Winter of Woe is the hardest content we've ever seen for this kind of content. Every Summer of Pain fight compared to this one, I think paled in comparison. And on top of that, it's worth noting, even if you get through it and you think, God, thank God I don't have to do this again. Well, if you want bonus rewards, think again, because you will have to fight this guy. And yes, you can do it with Hulk or somebody else, hopefully, but you'll have to fight him again when the gauntlet returns, because you'll be fighting every one of these defenders in a row for a final boss battle, a row of bosses at some point. Look, I get that these fights were such BS that even Kabam said, yeah, the robot one's like almost impossible. I threw 25 revives at it. I don't think it was worth it, but it was completed. I don't want to do this again, unless I could bring in my Hulk, which I did. It should have been only 3 revives, but I used 5 because of input issues and, honestly, user error. I get that the community is outraged, that this is too hard, and that this is a cash grab, and that this is a reflection of why MCOC is so much less fun than it used to be. I totally get that, and if you believe that this is a BS fight that does more damage to the community morale than good, I can support that. You could just say it that way. You could just verbalize your opposition to it without getting personal and without getting scary. But unfortunately, the reason why I'm making this video today is that I have had a couple summoners, and one in particular. I'm not going to show the post because I'm not going to give who posted it a shout out. That goes against everything I believe in this channel in the 6+ years that I've been doing this. But I am going to read to you a couple of the posts under Karate Mike, who, by the way, I've never met Karate Mike. I asked him to be interviewed on my interview series a couple years ago, and I was cranking those out every month or so, and he politely declined. I was disappointed, but I had no idea how much he was even working for Kabam at that point, and I'm sure there's no way, even if he wanted to do it, which I doubt he did, they would have wanted him to do it. I only got to interview Kabam Broccoli because he was no longer working with the company. There are people who are commenting that it would be a great day for the community if Karate Mike was found unconscious. That is a real post, and that's a G-rated version of this post because I am paraphrasing to protect sensitive ears. And then there's another post that says, Karate Mike's girlfriend, dog, and mother got assaulted by Kabam Mike himself, and then he went away. Again, these are G-rated versions of these posts, some of which you have never even seen Karate Mike. They're just commenting on the channel to give their extreme displeasure of this one fight. Zemo, thank you for that. You know who you are. Now, I think, as someone who studies the media, this is not 99.9% of the community. What the media does on really both political sides for outrage and profit purposes is they take the extremes of humanity and they try to make it normalized. They try to say this is a reflection of everybody's character and we're a horrible place to be. And I just don't believe that. I believe the majority of people you meet, I don't care what country you're in, I don't care what creed, religion, race, you name it, people are going to be kind. People are going to be wanting to make friends, not enemies. People are going to want to love, not hate. But hate will always exist because that is the nature of this planet and that is the nature of ourselves as human beings, unfortunately. And so this doesn't surprise me, but it does scare me. I used to think when somebody would comment, like the first month I did videos, and yes, they were terrible, and yes, I was terrible, and yes, people can say I'm still terrible, but you have to start somewhere, and that's what I did. I started with no equipment, no knowledge. I was trial and error and mostly error. And there were people who were embarrassed for the community because I was attempting to be a voice. And the worst comment I ever received was someone to say, hey, you should go to the tallest building in your town and check out the view by jumping. And it really disturbed me. Like, I couldn't sleep very well that night. And did I ever expect that person to want me to do that? No. But it still shook me up emotionally. And for people who don't have a YouTube channel, don't have a public platform, they're going to say, gosh, you're so sensitive. Those people who talk about this are playing the victim. Just delete the comment and move on. I wish it was that simple. The worst phrase in the history of humanity is, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. If you think that, then you are beyond blessed because you did not grow up in a home where your mom or dad or someone's words were so targeted and abusive that they literally made you paralyzed because you couldn't believe that somebody that was supposed to love you would say such a thing to their child. That was my life for 18 years. And I still have relationships with those family members, but there have to be really healthy boundaries, or else I will sink into a relapse of that anxiety and depression that I went through for 18 years growing up. And I say that, again, not so you feel sorry for me. I love my life. I don't want you to feel sorry for me. Everything happens for a reason. But there are people out there who are hearing those words from their family members right now and maybe don't have hope because they think it just happens to them or there's no way that they can make it out. Please let this video be a reminder that it does get better and I'm an example of that. But we as a community, I don't care if it's for clicks, I don't care if it's sarcasm, I don't care. Shouldn't post these things on the forums or YouTube comments or Reddit, etc. And I get there's always going to be a percentage of trolls. There's always going to be people who love to hate people. It literally gives the brain the same dopamine effect that you would opening a crystal or hitting the button of a real life slot machine, etc. But if we don't call this behavior out, if we just laugh it off or ignore it or say it's not that bad, what one generation tolerates, the next embraces. And I don't want to look back and say, oh, I could have said something, but I didn't because, I mean, who wants to watch a perceived controversial video about some trolls? Well, maybe that's true, but I'm not making this for views. I'm making this for the health of the community. And Karate Mike, I sincerely apologize on behalf of the 99.9% in FinTech and Legacy. Like, yes, this fight is the worst fight I've ever seen. It makes Necropolis feel like Auto Fighting Act 1. But it's still not content that you should ever receive any kind of threats or harm to you or your family or your animals. It's disgusting behavior. And I want to speak out against it. And I did. And I value my platform because of it. So, to 99.9% of you that are going to hear that this was said and think, well, that's screwed up, but I would never say that. Great. But we just have to make sure we keep the 0.01% accountable. And for some people, it's just going to be deleting comments or blocking, and that's fine. But we don't want to ever encourage it because it just makes this toxicity that much more rampant. And if you don't call it out, it just keeps growing.